Today is the 22nd of January 2024, and this evening is my first dose of my new homeopathic remedy. The one I need to be taking this evening is carcinosin 30. I am not supposed to be eating or drinking 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after the remedy. And I'm also not supposed to be touching the remedy with my fingers, but I can use a spoon and then it settles on the tongue or under the tongue, and after a few seconds of starting to dissolve I can swallow it. Now my homeopath has given me 2 sheets. One of the sheets tells me what remedy dosage I'm taking and when, and it also details here when my next appointment is, although I've got a photographic memory so I remember it anyway. And she also included an appointment card in case I wanted to write the appointment on the appointment card. This week is week 1. I take 1 pill of carcinosin 30C this evening, and then I take 1 pill of carcinosin 200 tomorrow morning, and I take 1 pill of carcinosin 1M that evening. This continues through the first week. Now I also need to take my thyroxine as normal, and I usually take 1 thyroxine every morning before eating or drinking anything, and when I've taken the thyroxine I cannot have anything for at least 30 minutes. Tomorrow morning I'll be doing the thyroxine and the homeopathic remedy first thing in the morning. Now the second sheet tells me how to use the homeopathic remedy in detail. So avoid touching the remedy. Make sure that your hands are free of strong odours, which they are. Pour pills onto a metal spoon or use tweezers. Well, my coordination isn't great. I'm dyspraxic anyway, but I also have some numbness of hands and fingers, so I won't be using tweezers. I'm likely to drop it, so I'm going to use a spoon. And then it says let the dose dissolve on or under your tongue for a short time before swallowing. The mouth should be substance free, i.e. food, liquid, chewing gum, toothpaste, mouthwash and such for 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after taking the remedy. In acute situations, I can rinse my mouth thoroughly with water if it isn't possible to adhere to the time frame. The remedy should be stored away from direct sunlight and also away from heat over 40 degrees, such as a car in the summertime, and strong odours. This is because they can destroy a remedy before it's even taken. Avoid applying strong perfume or cologne or essential oils at the same time as taking a remedy. The only time I wear perfume is, and only a very light perfume, is if I'm going out somewhere. Don't keep remedies near your mobile phone or any other transmitting devices. That's anything with EMF frequencies, which can have a negative effect on the remedies as well as our general well-being, even if we don't even realise it, even if it's subconsciously. Discard any remedy that's been spilt from the container or has fallen onto a surface, and to keep it sterile. Don't transfer the remedy to another container or bottle, so don't put it in a pillbox, for example. Don't reuse the container when it's empty, as it may still carry properties of the remedy. Remedies can be antidoted by camphor, such as menthol that you get in rubs, such as Vicks Tiger Balm, Noxema, Carmex, Blistex, also some massage compounds, most cough lozenges, mothballs, etc. Generally, the mere smelling of camphor isn't enough to antidote a remedy. Anything mint flavoured, such as toothpaste, gum, soap, or anything similar, mouthwash, should be avoided around the time of taking a remedy. Coffee, either regular or decaffeinated, may antidote homeopathic remedies. If you're going to have coffee, only have 1 or 2 cups a day or less. Coffee flavoured foods and drinks, black tea, herbal teas, Coca-Cola and other caffeine containing substances generally won't antidote unless you're specifically sensitive to them. Anything to which you're particularly sensitive to, such as foods, chemicals or other substances which you know will react with your system and maybe bring you out in hives or a rash or any skin eruption after certain food, odours which make you feel faint or nauseous, things which specifically cause asthma. For me, it's a lot of scented products, just avoid them. And then possible reactions. A homeopathic remedy is a very gentle and safe method of healing. However, it is apparently quite common to have some kind of flare up when you first start. This is called an aggravation and is usually a good sign. If I think I'm experiencing aggravation, I need to stop taking the remedy and see if the flare up settles and contact my homeopath Lee, who will tell me what to do. And I mean, she's very approachable. She's basically said to me, any questions I've got or any problems about anything, don't hesitate to contact her, and I will do, because I want it to work and it's in my best interest to follow everything to the letter. Now, I've had a bit of a strange weekend. Saturday I was busy, but I played the piano. I was reasonably upbeat. Yesterday I felt slightly stressed though. We were having a supper party and I'd made some curries in advance and let them marinate in the sauces, but for whatever reason I felt a bit anxious, and how it presents in me is it kind of rises and I sometimes feel a fluttering up in the heart chakra area, sometimes in the stomach as well, but often up here. I can't even begin to think what caused it. It just came on. Maybe it was because I was busy, or maybe it was the energies with being an empath. It depends what's going on with either the human collective or just in the general atmosphere. And last night was good. It was really good fun. Everything was fine. I went to bed. My dreams were a bit muddled last night. 2 things come to mind. I had at one point a little, maybe moment or two, dreaming that I was cleaning my ears out. It sounds a bit random, but it's kind of a message to me. It's kind of a message is, you know, keep listening out for things, be aware of what's going on. That's what it means to me, to just be aware, to listen out for things and to take note. It doesn't go in one ear and out the other. I actually take it in. So the problem sometimes with ADHD is, especially if you're busy doing something and somebody says something to you, you hear it, you might register it, but then it goes and it's gone. I just need to make sure I practice self-awareness and really listen out for what people are saying to me and what I'm listening to. I want to be present rather than half here and half somewhere else. I want to show up in the world in an authentic way, and I don't want to just give somebody or something half my attention when it's deserved of my full attention. The other thing I dreamt of last night was I was somewhere, maybe in Dan's mum's house, I don't know, and she was telling me off about little specks of rust that was on her draining board. But it was a metal draining board, which she doesn't have. I rebuked her for gaslighting me. And I said to her, well, it's over 2 months since I was here last. I haven't put the rust there. Stop gaslighting me. But I will, just out of respect, I will clean it for you. And I was giving it a good scrub. But I said, don't start gaslighting me because it's not right. Please take ownership for your own deeds. And that's what I dreamt last night, this morning. And I've not had too bad a sleep. I was slightly restless, but I slept better than I do sometimes. But I feel really tired today. But it might have something to do with the storm, because energetically it stirred everything up. And with all the gloom and doom as well, there's a lot of heavy energy in the community, in society. Earth energies in general have been fluctuating a fair bit. I follow, for example, the Schumann resonance, which tracks the heartbeat of the Earth. Things have been all over the place. We've had spikes, then we've had shifts in timeline and all sorts of things. The black spikes usually signify a shift in timeline, and sometimes there's been a whole section blacked out as well. So there's been a lot going on with the Schumann resonance. There was, of course, a flare last summer in June, but this last few weeks has been consistently up and down and quite extreme. And if you're an empath and you're sensitive to energies, I think it's really easy to pick that up, and it affects one's energy. So I felt a bit bleh. And today I did feel slightly anxious at one point. I had quite a few things to do, but I couldn't get, it took me a while to get going. I did achieve some of what I'd set out to do, not everything, but even so, it was enough to make me feel anxious, and I was running out of time. And I find I do better with just going with the flow. I do write down every day a list of things that I need to achieve. It's not always achievable. I don't beat myself up like I used to about it, but even so, because it took me quite a while to get going this morning, and I did want to do quite a few of the things. So I'm going to take my remedy this evening now, and I will see what happens overnight and how I feel tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some interesting dreams, some nice dreams. The other night I dreamt I was cooking with gok wan, which is nice. We were cooking some easy Asian food. And then the night or two before that, I dreamt that I met and chatted with Tracy Emin. That was a nice dream as well. I've also had dreams in the past where I've been baking with Paul Hollywood and cooking with Gordon Ramsay, which have also been quite uplifting dreams. I'm not really into celebrity at all. Maybe it's something my subconscious is manifesting. Dan and I have been doing a manifestation board with a healing grid, and I put a £20 note on the healing grid and taking a bet on myself, and we put some crystals on and some coin, and that will be up until after the full moon, and then we will dismantle it again. I'm doing quite a lot of manifestation work at the moment, so it might be that the dreams are linked to that, although I have had Paul Hollywood and Gordon Ramsay and Gok Wan dreams at least maybe once a month for the last few months, all of them. So I definitely think it means something. Without further ado, I'm going to do what it says. So I've got the tablet on the spoon. I'm just going to put it in now. It tastes slightly sugary, so it's been done with sugar. They're often made with either sugar or lactose as an ingredient. Something that's easy to dissolve. And that's it. It's 8:20 on Tuesday, the 23rd of January. I have just taken my thyroxine and my carcinosin 200 as per the instructions on the letter that Lee gave me. Now, I had quite a good night's rest. However, I still feel tired, but I just think it's the whole energy in the atmosphere at the moment. And there was a massive solar flare yesterday evening as well, which has a knock-on effect on people, even if they don't realise it. I dreamt last night that I was back with my ex-fiance, Dave. Now, I would never in a million years go back with Dave. Dave was a good egg in many ways, but didn't have the healthiest relationships with his daughter. There was some toxicity there, I could see, but also she could be, let's say, a little overbearing and kind of weigh influence on what her dad did or didn't do. And I was quite a strong person, and it's clear to me now, anyway, that we weren't really suited. And she didn't particularly like me. So that relationship didn't work out. one of his excuses was that I was too strong. I was a strong disposition and too intelligent, whatever that means. Of course, I was really upset at the time, but I think I had a lucky escape. That's my honest view. And we did kind of get in touch with one another a few times after, but the romance didn't reignite, and I didn't really encourage it to anyway, because generally if they don't want you, then they don't want you. And I'm not going to chase after anybody. And then when he did want me, I didn't want him. I wasn't interested anyway. And I turned him down. He wanted to go back out on a dinner date, and this was probably about 3 or 4 years actually after we'd split up. It's kind of a long story. He got in touch anyway, and I said no. Well, by then, of course, I was somebody because I'd had 3 poetry collections published and had been in a number of other publications, and I didn't feel that his interest was wholly genuine, shall we say, anyway. And he was the kind of person as well who would brew on something, was I'm an open book, especially with friends and family. I'm more of an open book. I've got nothing to hide. And I'll usually say if I'm not happy about something, just as much as if I am happy about something. But he was different. He would fester over things and then spring something on you, and then the situation would be worse than if he'd just been honest in the first place. And that's how we came to split up. It was out of the blue, really. Anyway, last night I dreamt that we were back together, and he was doing it again in terms of not being open and honest, and he'd been told that he had to stop drinking. And then I said, well, I couldn't be with somebody who wasn't open and honest. And it wasn't going to work out. And he ran back to the house and threw all my things down the stairs. And I just picked them up, and that was it, really. And I found out he had a mate with him that he was going to be evicted anyway from his house. This was the dream. And I wished him well. And I think that's significant. I needed to do that subconsciously. I mean, I did wish him well at the time anyway, but to openly acknowledge in the dream state the unconditional love aspect, I just let him go. And I feel really cool about that. And, well, I mean, Dan's completely different from Dave. And he didn't always find it easy to communicate in general, but we have open communication most of the time. And in any case, I can usually tell if there's something that he's not happy about, or if there's something troubling him. It's something we've worked on, because sometimes men are just conditioned not to talk about the feelings. Like, I think Dave was like that to a certain degree, not wholly. He told me a lot about his life, and it wasn't without its struggles, and I had empathy for that. But Dan's really worked hard to show more of his authentic self and talk about how he's feeling. I think that's helped him a lot, and it's helped our relationship a lot as well over the years. But Dan knows what he wants, and he's fully on board and present. And most of the time, I mean, we all have our ups and downs, But that's one of the most important things in a relationship, to be open and honest and to be able to talk about how you're feeling and to communicate with your partner and show up in a positive and committed way. I took my 1M tablet last night and I'd had quite a good day. I achieved quite a lot yesterday. It was a positive day, and we put the finishing touches to my brother's birthday cake last night as well, which was awesomeness itself. Dan loves icing cakes and he's now really good at it, so I let him help. And he also did some of the chocolate truffles with me as well. I taught him how to do those. He really likes confectionery. I think it's great because sometimes 2 pairs of hands are better than 1. You get the job done quicker as well. So if I'm in the middle of something else, I can just leave him to it while I do what I need to, and then I can come back. Today, though, is quite a different day. Tonight I take the 30C tablet again. So I've had like the whole of today where I haven't taken any of my remedy. The pattern starts again this evening with the 30C, and then tomorrow morning with the 200, and tomorrow night with the 1M. Today I felt more scattered. I didn't really dream about anything in particular. Dan left really early to drive the cake up to London, and it was probably about 6:20 this morning when he left. And then even then it took him 3 hours to get there. And then he came home and we went to Deal. Been nice weather this afternoon. I was feeling quite upbeat even though I was feeling tired. Yesterday we had 19 solar flares in a 24-hour period. And there was times when at least 2, if not 3 flares were going at it simultaneously at different sides of the sun. And all this has an effect on our bodily energies as well, even if we're not aware of it, whether that be mind or body or even spirit. These things do affect us, even if we're not awake to that or even receptive to such an idea. Anyway, we were parking up at the castle in Deal, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, have I wrapped up the wrong bottle of whiskey for my brother? And I did it last night when I was tired and slightly distracted. I'd been hyper-focusing on something, so other things can get pushed into the background. And being tired and having a spicy brain, I should have checked really. And then I went into anxiety mode, full anxiety mode. And Dan said, well, we won't get the meat. We'll just go home. I said, well, now we're here. We might as well get the meat. So we went to Lizzie Douglas at the Black Pig and bought the 5 pounds of Aberdeen Angus mince for £18, which is a special deal. And then hurried home via Alga Farm Shop. I needed some eggs and a couple of bits. So Dan checked the bar and said, yes, you've wrapped the wrong one. So then had to WhatsApp Lynn while I wrapped up the correct bottle of whiskey. At the moment, my brother's going to get a part consumed bottle of Talisker that he gave Dan for Christmas. So Dan's gone now with the bottle of unopened whiskey. It's Robert's birthday tomorrow. We're Scottish family, always celebrate Burns Night, and it so happens that his birthday is Burns Night. So it was important, we felt, to get the whiskey to him, even though we'd bought him a couple of other things and made him a beautiful cake. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, am I going mad? And Dan said that I might get a bit more scatty before I start getting better, because he was the same when he started his homeopathic remedy. He said you'll find that next week or the week after, your brain will start to feel more settled. And I could do all manner of things today, but I think I need to take a rest and just do nothing. So I might have a nap or listen to some music or watch a couple of videos and then think about preparing dinner. Now, I was going to do some tacos. I've got loads of mixed beans which I'd soaked and cooked yesterday, ready for chili. I was going to do a mixed bean chili and probably something meaty for Dan with Aberdeen Angus. Well, I don't know what I'll fancy myself, but I'll make Dan some chili for when he gets home, so at least he can have a bowl of chili. There won't be any tacos. It's likely to be tortilla chips, but it'll be hot and nutritious and it'll fill him up. So that's what I'm going to do for the rest of today. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. Well, after the whiskey debacle on Wednesday, Dan soon returned home, and I wondered why, and it was because my sister-in-law Lynn said that the whiskey could probably wait a few days. She would explain the situation to Robert, and it's something for him to look forward to continue his birthday anyway. But she didn't really want Dan going to all the extra effort of having to drive into London again the same day. We live quite a long way from London. It was very sweet of her anyway, and very understanding of both of them. My bad. Thursday and Friday were quite busy. I was a little bit tired, but we've had all these solar flares and we're still getting spikes and black lines that indicate shifts in timeline from the Schumann resonance. And being an empath, I'm sensitive to energies, and I've probably picked up on that to some degree. I've also had a terrible dermatitis rash on my legs. I don't know whether this is an aggravation because I have quite a few allergies, or I get dermatitis sometimes with stress. I need to wait and see. Last night I took my 30C, I've taken my 200C this morning, and I take my 1M this evening. Then from Monday I only have a 1M. So tonight's dose is the last dose until Monday. Therefore, if the dermatitis flares up again, I will probably need to contact Lee because it could be an aggravation. We'll just have to wait and see. I did speak to her though about the thyroxine and the carcinosin, because sometimes this week I've had to take carcinosin 200C in the morning, and I also have to take thyroxine in the morning as well before I eat or drink anything. Now, I don't really think it matters so much with a personal remedy, and Lee said to leave as long as possible between the two, which means I might have to wait at least an hour before I can eat or drink anything in the morning when I need to take both. But looking on the packet instructions again on the thyroxine, it says take it first thing in the morning before any other medicines. Now, carcinosin is a natural remedy, but I thought to myself, well, even though it might not matter too much, I'll do the thyroxine first, because I need to wait half an hour to eat and drink and have a really clean mouth, because I need to take the thyroxine with water. So if I have a good swig of water at the same time as taking the thyroxine, then my mouth is clean when half an hour later I take the natural remedy. Of course, I suppose I could take the natural remedy a little while after breakfast, for example. However, knowing me with my spicy brain, I'm going to get involved in things and I'll completely forget, which is why I like to take medication if it needs to be taken in the morning when I get up during that first hour. I think it works better for me. It's like I have my blood test for my thyroid review on the 6th of February, and I always have an early appointment because, knowing me, something would crop up during the day and I just wouldn't get there, or I'd run late, or I'd be stressed out thinking, oh my God, I've got to go out now, I've got to be there. So it's easier just to get it over with earlier in the day. All in all, then, it's been quite a good couple of days, and I feel more positive than I did the other day. I'm not saying I've not had any anxiety at all. It sometimes just comes on me, as I said, for no reason at all. But certainly yesterday in particular was better. Thursday was dull, so I didn't do quite so much. And we need a new set-top box for the telly. Not that we really watch it, but it's useful to have if we want to, say, watch old music shows, like music from the 80s or something like that, or something from YouTube, whatever it is. So Dan rang up BT because the set-top box wasn't working and he'd realised that it was fried. Maybe this was from the solar flares that we'd had. So it had gone kaput, so to speak. We've had high winds as well. Dan complained about that. He filled the survey in and didn't give them very good feedback. And he says if he can't get a cheap one, we're not going to bother, because we don't really watch it anyway. I think the TV gets watched more when Dan's mum comes down, but really we don't watch that much television, so it's no great loss. We've been entertaining ourselves quite happily as usual. With Dan has BritBox, and I watch YouTube quite a lot, and I do reading quite a lot, and I play the piano, and we keep ourselves busy, so we often don't even think about TV anyway. It's no great loss. And everything on TV these days is repeats, so there's not much point. Today I'm going to pop down soon to the Emporium, probably for a cup of tea and just to tidy the pictures up. I have a few greetings cards to put down there, and I made a few candles yesterday, just generally. They might go on my website, but they'll probably go in Creative. One or two might land on my 6 Oxford pitch at the PLE. I'll probably make some more though, and I need to add a few things to my website, catevans.com, and maybe a few things on Etsy as well. Well, it's Sunday evening, the 28th of January. It's the last day of my first week on the homeopathic remedy. I took my last 200C yesterday morning and then a 1M yesterday evening. And now from tomorrow evening, I just have 1M once a week for the next 3 weeks until my next consultation. It's been a good day or two. My tummy's been more settled, which is good. The rash seems to have subsided, which is good. I just need to watch what happens now. So if it doesn't flare up again, it was possibly an aggravation, but it seems to have settled at the moment anyway, which is good. But if it starts up again after tomorrow evening, I will know. We've had quite a good morning today in the garden. We were tidying things up and the tomato seedlings have come through in the conservatory. We're trying some new types this year, including a very interesting one called Black Moon. They're all organic seeds. They've only started coming through the last day or two, but they're doing really well. The sprouted seeds were also ready. They only took a few days. I have some red cabbage and beetroot ferment, and that's almost ready. Just another day or two and then it'll be ready to put in the fridge. We went down to our local pub this evening for a glass of wine and we've had supper. Now I am sitting with a gorgeous fluffy cat either side of me. All is well, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.